Guys, and welcome back to my channel, Brian's Life Compass. I want to go over 3 mistakes that I find a lot of foreigners make when they're in the Philippines after a while. And one of them I think you would find the most interesting, that it's actually the hardest to overcome. I want to share a brief history. I've been going back and forth now for going over 8 years. I've spent literally half the time there, half back in Canada. And it's not just about pointing out mistakes. It's just an overall vibe, having a better lifestyle when you're there. Because for a lot of you guys, this is like kind of your new adventure. You're retired, you're retiring early, you want to make a new life, you want to, and you watch a lot of YouTube videos and you see all the excitement and all the hype and everything else about it. And, and it doesn't matter where you travel to, when you start viewing videos and researching all this kind of stuff, it's never quite the same until you initially actually really get there to start experiencing it. And I just want to share some of the things that it's very easy to fall into this trap, and you kind of just have a negative vibe overall. All of a sudden things start going downhill, and then there's the blame game. So some of the things I see, and like I said, there's the 3 things is basically alcohol, dating, and money. And let's break that down and how I mean this. So dating is going to probably be very overwhelming. You're going to land there and you're going to think you were in heaven all of a sudden, okay? And I'm not being rude, disrespectful, or any of that on either side of it, but you've got to be pretty self-aware. Common sense, guys, common sense, okay? And you find that like a lot of people will sit there and say, oh, I've been taken advantage of, this and that. This is where I would say common sense plays into factor a lot. You go there with an attitude, you're bragging, this and that, and you're going to find it very easy for women that all of a sudden say within 3 seconds, oh, they love you, spend money on me. And I'm not even saying that they'll say it that way, but oh, help me out, or this and that. And again, I can't help it but say common sense, guys, common sense, okay? And I find that a lot of them will be bouncing around and in between relationships, thinking that this is perfect, and really what they're doing is not honest with themselves, and they're going for a way too far of an age gap. They're trying to relive their youth, and so on and so forth. And I mean, by all means, if you're going to be aware of that situation and you want to do it, just be honest with yourself and be honest with the partner you're with too. That's a whole different topic. So I feel a lot of stuff going downhill because they can make it very uncomfortable for you. You start getting them angry, it's a bad scene, and I've seen it, and I don't really want to go down the path too far because I try to make my videos actually more on a much more positive scale. I just want to point these things out because, again, if you avoid these kind of things, your life's going to be a lot cleaner, happier, healthier, and you're going to enjoy your time a lot more. The other one is alcohol. And I'm saving the cash one because you're going to probably be really surprised on what I mean and how that can be a problem. The alcohol one is now, it's so easy to all of a sudden marry a bar stool, okay? Because it's so cheap. And I think actually in reality, a big part of it is also the social aspect of it, okay? You think it's all wonderful to go to a new country, but the language barrier can happen. The Philippines is not so much, but I find a lot of foreigners also, they kind of miss their easy chatting, if you will, and talk about the home life and so on and so forth. So it's not necessarily just going to the bar for the drink. That's how it starts off, and then you have a few, and it's so darn cheap in comparison, and it becomes a habit. And I've seen a lot of good people like just have the bottle way too much. And I don't care where you live, that's going to be an issue anyway. But, it can kind of ruin your retirement a lot. You have these plans. And then again, and it kind of sways back to, the dating thing. You're probably going to, meet some different style of women there and all this kind of stuff. And I really don't want to focus on the negative. I'm just saying these are something to be aware of, and it's a slippery slope, and you don't really see it happening because you go out for the social aspect of it. Before you know it, a few weeks later, instead of just having 1 or 2, you're having 3 or 4, and instead of just going once or twice a week, you're going 3 or 4 times a week, and that can also be expensive, which will lead us into the cash here in a moment. But also, and I'm not trying to be the nagging mother, but it's it's an unhealthy lifestyle as well, and it's very easy to become negative then when you're in that. You just have a bad attitude overall, and a lot of people I see start complaining. Oh, this and this and this, and I've seen it so many times. I mean, I would go to this. I remember this one place in Mindoro, beautiful German deli. Go there early in the morning and have a really fantastic meal. And their gins were like, this was a few years before, a few years back, and they were gin and tonics were on sale like for 40 pesos or whatever. And it's like people are getting completely drunk already at 7 in the morning. Man, I would be dead. Just the lifestyle. I don't know, man. If it's for you, it's for you. But it's just, I see a lot of people kind of making that their life, and I see that kind of going bad. The money thing. And what I mean by this now, it is easy to get money drunk, if you will. Okay, I made a video about the stress of everyday life. It's a little short video. You should take a look at it. It's kind of interesting. It was based on getting a haircut. But you're so used to a cost factor being draining in North America. A simple going out is overwhelming. The gas to get there, everything. Your first mindset is, how much is this going to cost me? And when you can start going to places like the Philippines and you start realizing, wow, my money goes this far. I mean, I can go to there's a little favorite little restaurant in Dumaguete, Mexicana, I go to here and there, and it's like 150 pesos, $2-3, and I've got myself a really good full meal. It tastes great. A little bit of social there. There's other people to talk to and stuff. So it's a couple bucks here and there. Nothing wrong with that. But you can get into a habit where also like, oh, you know what? This only costs so much. This only costs so much. And all of a sudden, oh, I don't mind giving an extra tip. I don't mind doing this, and so on and so forth. And the meals can get more expensive and more expensive. And there's different areas, different hangouts. They get more and more expensive. And you put yourself in a lifestyle that all of a sudden you realize, where's my money going? And yes, your money goes further, but it's not indefinite, right? And if you are on a fixed budget, I've seen a lot of people, I'm sorry, but they get money drunk, okay? They just think, okay, oh, I can spend, and they can't have the foresight to realize, oh, an emergency came up, or an accident happened, and all these kind of things. Oh, I don't have the funds for it anymore. And they don't want to give up their lifestyle. And I have an issue with this when I do my budget things, because I'll make a budget video. And again, if you're interested in that, I would watch this video. I break it right down, how you can live on 1,000 Canadian dollars. And I got a pool, I got internet, fully furnished, and so on and so forth. It's a pretty good video to watch. Now, even in that video, I recommend having savings and having extra money, but it'll really break down on how you can live on that and comfortable. But you start going beyond that quite easily, where like in North America, you're not going to go beyond that. A simple trip to McDonald's costs you like $30 now or whatever, right? So that's an easy one to slip into, finding out that, oh, this is actually a lot more expensive, when it's just self-monitoring and realizing, hey, money is finite, okay? And it's an energy, it's a vibe. Like, you're going out, you find so easy to continue to going out, spending here, spending there. It's only this, it's only that. But it's a hard one to control when you actually get into that frame of things, because now you got to backtrack. So I really recommend, the other ones like the dating thing, common sense, the alcohol, well, common sense. They're all kind of common sense if you really break it down. But put yourself on a budget when you first get there, okay? And stick to it. Treat yourself when let's say, like, you put yourself in a budget. Again, I'm going to bring my example of the $1,000 a month video. If you have, let's say, a $1,500 a month income, okay, and you say, what, I can do this on $1,000. Put yourself on that budget. Save that $500. Let it bank up. Have a little bit of a nest egg. And then every once in a while say, you know what, I can take that now and I'm going to make a trip. I'm going to go to Boracay or whatever, and, and treat yourself. Do the fine restaurants, do everything great. And then you're back onto your pattern. Do your budget. And a budget doesn't necessarily mean living unhappy or unhealthy and lack of. It just means having a guideline, a system. My budget is very very comfortable, and I can do it on 1,000 and still be comfortable. Um, but again, you know, if all of a sudden you have that emergency, you got to have those kind of funds as well. But it's also very easy to go past your budget if you just don't have the mindset. If you don't have a little bit of a clear path on where your money is going, what you're spending on, you know, the entertainment, how far you're going with this, where you're going all the time. Again, I see a lot of people ending up broke, and it's after a few years. And I don't really understand how or why. I mean, the writing's on the wall. You see it. I don't know how many people can't fathom their own money, but it happens day in and day out, and it's just a very simple thing to avoid. Okay, and I think it's one of the hardest. I think a lot of people have no issue with the alcohol. I mean, they go out and have fun. They don't become alcoholics and nothing like that. I think a lot of people do have a common sense with relationships, stuff like that. I see more often than not the money being an issue, you know, and it's all of a sudden they put themselves in a lifestyle, their group of friends, and they overspend on a regular basis, and then they run into an issue. You know, the visa extension, they might be anything. You always should have money on the side. Anyway, guys, if you've had personal experiences, or let me know where I've done something wrong in the sense of this analyzing, you know, and want to add to it, leave it in the comments. I'm always interested in getting feedback and learning from other things as well. So thanks for joining in and sharing and watching us. I appreciate it all, and everybody take care.